So what did you know before coming to Lithuania about Lithuanian people, culture, any?
Oh, what I was doing was part of my mission in my training of music was collaborating with people, and collaborating with as many people in as many countries. And I had collaborated with 3 or 4 artists in Lithuania by the time I reached Europe.
Okay. Do you notice something very specific to Lithuanian artists or these musicians or?
Oh, absolutely. There's something that you can drag first into the zone, and then something specific. So first the zone it's the Baltics, it's Scandinavia, and so you're going to add Denmark, Finland, Norway, Sweden, and what we might know about the Baltics into this thing. And in this zone, there's this thing we learn about called the Danes call the gen law, and it means that you cannot say you're better than someone else, and the nail that gets stuck up will get hammered down. And so what commonly I notice in the artists in this region is artists are really, really talented, and they are really, really not talking about their talentedness.
Yeah, they are shy and very, very, very...
we Americans are just blasting it out, the speakers, how great we are, and we aren't yet.
Yeah, I know, we are too shy.
And so, so this comes with it's almost part of the law of the land, you know, in this whole area. And then specifically to Lithuania, I think there's something that you are doing that's specific to your condition that isn't Polish, and it isn't Danish, and it isn't Finnish, and it isn't Russian. And as when we're listening with open ears for experimental things, and not like, I'm not listening for folk music or types of traditional things, but I'm listening for what people are up to. And so I'm like, good, people are doing interesting things here, and I may not understand an overall reach of what it is, and that's good. Perhaps that there isn't a like, all you Lithuanian artists, we can all call you like this.
Okay. But as far as I imagine, your situation as an artist, as an American, is really very specific comparing to other foreigners.
Yes.
So how do you think, what things helped you the most to find your place in Lithuania?
Oh, first of all, when I first moved to Europe, I moved to Galicia on the Portuguese coast of Spain. It's a district above Portugal. It's a whole district. And the first thing I was doing was decompressing America. And I realized, there's so many tragic things about America. I've just got to get rid of this stuff because I cannot, it was not going to get me somewhere in Europe. And so I stumble through those things and I get rid of those things, but then I realize, there are really good things about us Americans. And what helps me on my way in Lithuania specifically is people love us Americans. Come on, if you're not the ugly part of America, if you are the sunshine of America, if you're the joyous part of America, if you are celebrating America, people love you.
But don't you think we too much imitate you?
No, I think it's like we all have. Larry Rivers, a pop artist, has this great comment, and he says, "I was trying to be Pablo Picasso during the day and painting in Brooklyn, and then I was blowing my horn in Harlem and trying to be Charlie Parker by night, and then I realized at some point my heroes disappeared and it was time to do work." So it's important to have heroes.
Yes.
It's important to look outside the local condition and find people who are like, that person's doing something iconic that means something to me. And the best thing is we're never going to be those people.
Yes, I agree.
And the best thing for us is those people are just like classes we go to at school. They're just like courses. They're studies. You'll study Rihanna, and you'll study the Beastie Boys, and you'll study Metallica, you know? And then you'll put those courses behind you at some point because you realize, the Beastie Boys, Metallica, and Rihanna just aren't I'm this thing now.
Yes.
And so what does me well in Lithuania is two things. One is that I accept the responsibility of being American.
Okay.
And that's a two-sided thing, and I'm willing to point both sides of that picture.
Okay.
You know, it's important to recognize that America is completely tragic, but not without redeeming qualities.
Okay.
And then the next thing is it's important to study the Lithuanian condition for me. My friends are, and this is an important thing about being an outsider and coming to Lithuania, your friends and the people you meet are a treasure trove of interesting information about Lithuania, and they don't know it.
Yes.
And you'll walk down Laisvės alėja and they'll say, oh, this thing. And then you've learned this thing.
Yeah, yeah. What would be your tips and tricks for artists, maybe, who are planning to come to Lithuania or even stay?
Well, the first thing you do is Lithuania has the cheapest, best internet, and you go to the grocery store and you look on the back to make sure it's 30 days, but for like €3 you can get unlimited internet, and then you're going, because we artists need to be plugged in.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the ground zero. We need to be connected, and you will be connected in Lithuania. It's super cheap and super quick. And the next thing is you recognize that the action happens in places in Kaunas. You recognize that the Kaunas Artist House and any number of places have ongoing. It's like if you go to a museum, maybe they'll have a show that'll go on for a while. If you go to a place like Emma, you go to Kaunas Artist House, you go to Godot right here, and they'll have ongoing things. And through that, you will meet the people who are doing things here in Kaunas. They're there.
Yeah.
And so you can look it up in Kaunas Full of Culture. There's great resources for all of us.
Yeah. Do you imagine yourself staying for more in Lithuania?
Well, I got a very exciting project for Kaunas that I'm looking to establish the Kaunas Museum of Cassette Culture.